the story of choices is really about God's faithfulness. Chapter after chapter has been written, but there's still so many new dreams left for us to imagine. I look back at the past decade, and it leaves us with a couple of key takeaways. First of all, our incredible gratitude for partners like you who imagined with us the possibilities, who saw the need for choices to even exist, and who generously supported this work. Secondly, we've been amazed by the resolve to continue moving forward with future plans to not only save lives, but to leave legacies of redemption in our region. So a little bit about us. Ultimately, we exist to share the love of Christ with everyone who walks through our doors. And hopefully someday our vision is that we live in a community that values life. So how do we go about doing this? We come alongside people in our community who are facing an unplanned pregnancy, offering them hope. And we know where that comes from, right? And life-affirming choices. But there's a problem. I think a lot of people don't realize that little old Fredericksburg has much of an abortion problem. According to the Virginia Department of Health, Fredericksburg is the number 2 in the entire state of Virginia for the highest rate of abortion. Little old Fredericksburg. 27 out of every 1,000 pregnancies is terminated by abortion. Richmond has 17, and somehow we're at 27. Places like Arlington, Alexandria, Hampton Roads, they're down around 20, 21, 22. We have a challenge. So that's the bad news, but I will get to some good news in a little bit. So a little bit more about us as a ministry. We offer a variety of programs and services, all of which are free only because of the generous support of our ministry partners. And it's important for me to emphasize that we are a medical facility with a licensed doctor as our medical director. And over the years, we've been able to maintain our cutting edge of medical technology and trends with a new ultrasound machine that the Knights of Columbus helped us get back in 2020, as well as trying to stay ahead of the number 1 means of abortion since the pandemic, which is the abortion pill. Currently, about half of all abortions are chemical abortions are done with the abortion pill, and it's projected to go up to as much as 60% over the coming years. So that's our other problem, and we've got to figure out how to overcome that challenge. But we're not just about medical, we're also about practical. We're about the whole picture. And this is what it looks like. It includes parenting classes. We have an Earn While You Learn program that helps prepare these young couples to be parents. For every hour that our clients spend going through our Earn While You Learn program, they earn baby bucks. They then take these baby bucks and go down to one of our church partners that houses our baby boutique, and they trade in those baby bucks for practical things that they need, whether it's pack and plays, car seats, things of that nature. Another one of our programs is our abortion recovery ministry. This program enables people to find forgiveness, healing, and freedom through the gospel. A lot of people have a very different abortion experience. Sometimes it's something that they've been through themselves. Sometimes they helped somebody get one. Sometimes they didn't really have a say or a choice in what their partner chose. So there's a great deal of hurt there, and that's the purpose of this program, for us to be able to help them navigate and find that healing and freedom. So let me take a second here. Where are the pastors in the room? If you wouldn't mind standing up, please. Yes. Thank you. We would not be a holistic ministry without you and the role of your church in partnering with us. We have a PLANS program. PLANS is an acronym that stands for Potential Life Affirming Next Steps. Essentially, this is a bridge that helps connect our clients with the local church, where they can find meaningful biblical community and hopefully discipleship along the way. If your church is already part of our PLANS program, we thank you. If your church is not and you're interested, we need you. More importantly, our clients need you, and we would love to share more about that program with you. 2 years ago, we imagined the possibility of a fatherhood program where we would have men that would come alongside some of the dads that come into our center. Last year, we were able to launch that program with a $20,000 grant from CareNet, which is a national pregnancy help organization. We were one of 10 pregnancy centers across the country that was selected for that grant. And they chose little old Fredericksburg to be the pilot or model program for the entire Northeast region of the United States. God is good. And tonight I'm pleased to report that we have 10 men that have been trained and are ready to start engaging with dads that come into the center. If you're a father in here, if you're a father in here and mentoring one of these other young dads is of remote interest to you, I would love to talk to you. Because when you think about it, there's a lot of these dads that they don't know what right looks like. Most of them didn't even have a father in the picture. And those that did, it wasn't necessarily a good father. So we need people to be able to come alongside of them and empower them with hope and life-affirming choices as well. Research has shown that the support of a father means that the mother is 60% more likely to keep her baby. And that's what motivated us to start this program. How can we not have a fatherhood program if he has that much influence over her decision? Bottom line is dads matter. We all know that. The last program that I wanted to highlight is our Infant Memorial Program. This past fall, we hosted our first Infant Memorial service at Stevenson Ridge. And this is a place where people mourning the loss of a baby, regardless of how the baby passed, they could come and honor their child and be exposed to the gospel and hopefully leave with the hope that comes from the gospel. We will host another infant memorial service this coming October, also probably at Stevenson Ridge. And this is an opportunity for us to continue to engage our community practically and spiritually. So now I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about the last 10 years, this being our 10th anniversary. The chapter of 2021 is just one of many that have been written so far. But the first chapter began back in 2012 when we incorporated as the Fredericksburg Pregnancy Center. Was anybody involved back in 2012? Can I see a show of hands? All right, I'm getting ready to call out a few people. So if you'd hold your applause till the end, please. There's a couple of very, very special people in the room tonight. And I'd like to start out with Gloria and Wayne Whitley, if you could stand. Gloria was and still is our nurse manager. And if you could remain standing. Eileen Roberts. She was one of our founding board members. Tammy Patriani. There's Tammy. Dan Donahue. And last but not least, Dr. Dwayne Anderson. Dr. Anderson, I think, receives the award for the farthest travel. came all the way from, I think, Nevada. Is that right? Thank you for being here, Dr. Anderson. So these were the founders of this ministry, and just to put it in a little bit of perspective, they started with $40,000, 2 part-time staff, 4 very hard-working board members. That first year, they saw 106 clients, 21 of which were abortion vulnerable or abortion minded. 9 of them changed their minds. Fast forward 10 years, we now have a $600,000 budget. On our peak year, we saw over 600 clients. We have a staff of 10 with dozens of volunteers. And all I got to say is just look at the favor of the Lord in honoring what you all started. And I hope we've done you proud in continuing this ministry that you were so faithful with. I'd also like to ask any volunteers that were part of the team back in 2012, as well as donors that supported back in 2012, if you could stand. Wow. Oh, there's a couple. There we go. I guess this means we have a lot of new faces. Since we opened our doors, we have seen over 3,500 clients. Think about that, 3,500 clients. That's a pretty staggering number. So what does that really mean? It means that more than 3,500 moms had an ultrasound, many of whom that ultrasound helped them change their mind and choose life. And they got to see their baby for the very first time. And those of us that are parents, we can remember back when we first saw our child up on that monitor, and what a moving moment that is. And that's one of our goals. And that's why the ultrasound is so powerful, that it helps foster that maternal and paternal bond. That means that 2,113 of our clients were abortion-minded or abortion vulnerable. That means 1,417, or 67% of them, chose life. That's a little over 1,400 babies that almost weren't. That's 1,400 women that were spared the violence of abortion in our very own community. Imagine the heartbreak and imagine the brokenness had this ministry not been there to walk that journey with them and help them in that decision-making process. Equally important are conversations about the author of life. Nearly 1,600 gospel presentations have taken place over the last 10 years, hundreds of which made spiritual decisions. And that's really, really important for us. And the next piece of that is to help them, like I said, connect with the church. But if all these chapters lead to a momentous point tonight, it's this one, 42%. Let me say that again, 42%. When we opened our doors, more than 800 abortions were taking place from right here in our very own community every year. Fast forward, that number's down less than 500. That's a 42% decrease. So we are together making a difference for life in our community. And these are not our numbers. These are numbers that come from the Virginia Department of Health. For this decrease, we praise God, and we thank you, our supporters, for enabling us to do it. This number is due to your faithful partnership and generous giving. Lives in this region, because that's what this number really is all about, it's lives, would not have been saved without your support, and we cannot thank you enough. But the book is far from over. We still have a lot of work to do. When you do the math of that 480 people in our community that are still buying into the lie that abortion is their best and only choice, that's 9 a week. So we've still got a lot of work to do. And we're grateful that you have our backs doing this. So what might be in the future chapters for Choices? For us, our vision is to be able to expand medical services. And that could be more hours, more days open. That also includes reopening the Stafford office that we had to close during COVID. But all of this requires more resources, and not just financial, but people. The bottom line, we need more medical professionals in order to adequately staff 2 separate locations and in order to be able to expand services. In the past, we've been able to get by with just 2 nurses. This past year, though, the Lord blessed us with 2 additional nurses. So now we're up to 4 that can perform ultrasounds. But it gets better. Let me tell you what God did just this past week. Not 1, but 2 additional nurses reached out to us and said, we want to come along your side and serve with you. 1 is already OB certified. The other one's a nurse practitioner. It gets better. This week we had a retiring OB come into our office and say, I want to come along and serve with you guys. Just imagine the impact that we could make with having an OB on site and a full complement of nurses. Needless to say, our staff is excited, to say the least.